This is A Line Around Your Thoughts, a podcast that centers on conversations with artists, writers, musicians, and creatives from around the Inland Northwest. I'm your host, E.J. Iannelli. Today in the Roquehart Media Studio, we are joined by Jeni Riplinger and Jaiden Haley of Emerge Coeur. Jaiden is the operations manager there, and Jeni is the executive director. So welcome, Jaiden, and welcome, Jeni.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm psyched that you made it over here today. There's a lot to talk about because we have the upcoming ink print rally that's on September 18th, if
13th.
I'm not mistaken. 13th.
Yes.
But there's other stuff that going on beyond that. There are things that you have just finished doing, and then there's a lot of other stuff on the horizon. So I want to talk about all of that today, if possible.
Great.
I figured we'd start in by getting into some of the history of Emerge Coeur for folks who aren't familiar with it. It is a nonprofit. I think it bills itself as kind of a creative incubator for all types of creatives within the Coeur d'Alene area. And then slightly outside of that, does your remit or does your scope kind of stop outside of Coeur d'Alene, or do you cover even up to Sandpoint?
Oh yeah, we definitely cover, I would say the greater Northwest. Like, we have artists that participate in our programs all the way down to Moscow, Pullman, Spokane,
Oh, wow.
Sandpoint,
Missoula sometimes.
yeah.
So even though Coeur d'Alene is in the name, you cast a much, much wider net than that. So really it's just to kind of root Emerge as a physical location or a geographic center in Coeur d'Alene, but you've got artists from all over taking part.
Yes. I mean, primarily we are really focused on making sure that we're there for the aspiring artist community in Coeur d'Alene,
Mm-hmm.
but that reach does go beyond the Coeur d'Alene area.
And does the border then stop at Idaho or the Washington-Idaho border because Washington has organizations that will help support artists and creatives of its own? Or do you also move into Spokane sometimes?
We definitely work with artists in Spokane as well. The arts organizations that are supporting aspiring artists here in Spokane are doing amazing work. I don't feel that our organizations are competing for artists. It's just organizations, collectively we're giving them many experiences and opportunities throughout the year. It's really great because as far as we can see, none of the open calls or the opportunities conflict with one another or overlap. So the artists can really, participate in all of them if they want to.
And it provides everybody with additional opportunities for partnerships, like our organization with Spokane organizations coming together to provide even more opportunities.
Yeah, there is. When it comes to artist support in particular, it really is kind of a case of the more the merrier. Mm-hmm. There is the element of funding and the limited funding, and we might get into that a little bit later because I'd like to talk about that. But when it comes to creative resources or resources for creatives, it really is a case of, the more folks that are involved, the better it is for everybody, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Now, Emerge, I think in its mission statement, calls itself a collective art experience. And I didn't know if you wanted to tease out what that phrase means and some of the facets of Emerge Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, so I think what that means to us is that collectively as a community, Emerge, that people can participate, all people in the community, the artists, supporters, can participate in the arts, in arts culture through Emerge. Mm-hmm. We're a program that first and foremost is there to support artists of all kind, to provide opportunities through the gallery, through our retail space, through our events, through professional development series that we run. But we're also there for the community to engage in the arts by providing free and accessible events, classes in our classroom spaces, just many opportunities for all ages to gather together in an inclusive space and collectively appreciate the arts.
And how long has it been going?
So I started Emerge really 12 years ago. We started with pop-up events, and then we leased our first brick and mortar space 10 years ago, 10 and a half years ago now.
And is that the one that you are currently in?
No, it's not. This is our second space because in 2020, we really kicked off that year in a spectacular way by losing our first space in a fire.
Oh wow!
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that. That seems like fairly sensational news, but I missed that headline.
Yeah, it did make the news quite a bit. There was it was a building with 6 businesses in it, so all the businesses were lost. Ours was mainly lost through the water and smoke damage, but still, deemed unrepairable. And so we leased our second space on 2nd and Lakeside, I think the first week of March in 2020, and then 3 weeks later, the pandemic hit.
I was going to say very fortuitous timing. So you kind of had one, mishap after mishap, and mishap is probably putting it lightly.
Yeah, and I mean it's really like life, right?
Yeah.
Like these catastrophic things happen that seem like the biggest disaster in the world, and then a year or two later, you realize that it was really the best thing. We ended up leasing the space, which my board and I knew that at the beginning of 2020 that we wanted it on our 5-year plan to get into a new space. We needed a better gallery, more classroom space, especially. So when the fire where we get into this space, and you're thinking, how can we ever take a year to remodel, and not have income, not have programming? And then the world said, here's a year, the pandemic hit and there was nothing else we could do. And so it ended up being, for lack of a better word, a blessing in disguise. And we ended up with an incredible space we're really proud of. It's beautiful. My hope was always that we could exhibit these aspiring artists' works in a very professional gallery setting. That's what was lacking in Coeur d'Alene. There is no bridge. There's no bridge between the coffee shop and the commercial spaces. And so, when I was really dreaming of Emerge, it just had this great gallery space to feature these artists, which in turn hopefully would present a whole lot of other opportunities for them moving forward. So our new space, newish, now we've been there for over 5 years, but it's beautiful. It has great classroom space, great pottery studio room, so we've been really, really happy there. And again, it's one of those just kind of life lessons. We were devastated for a minute, and then turned out it was the best thing.
And Jaiden, when did you come on with Emerge?
June of 2023. So
Okay.
It's been 2.5 years.
Okay, so you've been, you weren't there necessarily or part of the organization to witness some of these setbacks, but you're director of operations there. So what does that involve?
So day-to-day stuff, I'm the person that's there the most, Monday through Friday. And I manage all of the programming. So all of our classes, I schedule those. I work with the instructors when we need to bring on new instructors. I kind of seek them out and help facilitate that. And then within our events, Jeni and I co-run the events, and I have a main focus on volunteer coordination, so kind of recruiting volunteers and then helping them get set up throughout the event. And then I play a big part in our retail space and kind of relationships with vendors, and then I guess.
And you've got a staff of
Yeah.
about 5? Is
It's
that right?
actually really too many things for Jaiden to list. She's really the one running the show here. No, she does a lot.
But yeah, there's 4 of us, including our intern.
Okay. So yeah, you have this staff of 4 plus an intern, and then you also have a pretty active board as well. The volunteer base, I'm curious about. How large is your volunteer base? Are there a lot of folks coming out from the Coeur d'Alene community to help support this?
Yeah, I'd say on average, we have maybe 10 people that are volunteering on like a regular, like weekly or monthly basis.
The reliables, yeah.
Yes, and then for the events that happen quarterly, we'll have anywhere from like 20 to 30 people that show up to help out, and sometimes it's the same people from event to event. Sometimes it's new faces that we then never see again. We really see a lot of people that are interested in helping out.
And how has the organization evolved in that time? So you had the misfortune of the fire, but then, and also maybe the dubious benefit of the pandemic in order to get some time together and get a new space. But you've been able to move into a space that affords you some more potential. So what sort of evolution has gone along with Emerge?
I think that we started with, we started with a smaller board, and really they were our founding board. So the focus was really about just becoming an organization.
The scrappy startup
yes,
phase, right? Yeah.
In all the logistics, right? Like your bylaws and your, mission and all of those things. So still so incredibly grateful to the people that helped, navigate that. I think that we started small, but our mission has remained the same. We've just over the years been able to expand slowly, expand what we're offering to the community in terms of classes and programming, expand our events, When we started, it's now called the Block Party, but it started as the pop-up show. And
that just was in July, correct?
Yes. We just had 12th annual Block Party. And again, we started with popping up in vacant spaces, pre-having our own space. But then we did that for 6 or 7 years, and that was just a change that happened naturally to transition it into a block party. For one thing, there really isn't any vacant buildings downtown anymore to pop up in.
Well, that's kind of encouraging.
Yes.
So even though the spaces aren't available for those pop-up creative purposes, it's kind of nice to have that occupancy there.
Right, for sure. And and then when we finished our space, and it's 2021, we're ready for a first event, and that's when we made the decision as a board and as staff that we have this incredible space now that we've put so much into. We have street and parking lot options around us to help to utilize. Let's just, rebrand this into a block party and do it here each year. So that kind of was part of the evolution of that signature event of ours.
And that also brought sort of like this aspect of like identifying this block party with Emerge, because it's in the same spot every year. People will come in and say, I've never been in here except for at the block party. I remember coming here and seeing it so full of people, and it all kind of connects together for people.
Yeah, and that branding or that identity is a huge issue. Because I was just talking to someone the other day about Terrain and Spokane Arts, which are our arts advocacy organizations here. And there are folks who maybe show up to Bazaar or Burzar. It's a little bit harder to do with Terrain's flagship event, which has kind of terrain all over it. But there are folks who didn't make that connection that, this event is associated with this organization. They were just kind of happy to see vendors out there and artists and that sort of thing. But of course, when you're attempting to do that placemaking and you're attempting to bolster the creative economy, it's kind of nice that they do make that link so that they identify Emerge as a resource that they can go to, and that, you know, Emerge is the driver for this. So do you find that over the years, more and more people, you know, maybe because of the block party, they're making that connection between Emerge and all the things that you're doing?
No. Yeah. No, I mean, it's so challenging. We actually just had this conversation in the office yesterday about, I actually brought up terrain because I absolutely love terrain, have always been inspired by the work that Ginger does. She's a friend and been invaluable resource. So love terrain's events. And I think one of the things that they do really well is each event I go to of theirs, I see the terrain booth. Mm-hmm. There's the signage, there's Ginger, there's, other terrain staff there and ready to tell you all about terrain. And we talked about, I think we do that best during our block party, but I think in, like the ink rally or our ceramic throwdown, sometimes people come in to those two events and they walk out not really even knowing who the host was, or
that was nice. A good time was had by all. That's wonderful.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And so we, leading up to the ink rally, we were just talking about we need to have a very visible Emerge presence at our own event. And it seems like something, well, it's an Emerge event, that's our presence. But you're up against that, people leaving and not really knowing who the organization was. So always something we're trying to, there's always things you're trying to do better.
Yeah, and it hasn't always been that way with terrain. It's something that I think you develop and you refine over time. Mm-hmm. So initially, I think there is the expectation that, hey, we're hosting this event, we're putting it on, and people will make that connection. And Ginger at Terrain, very quickly recognized that need and began, cementing that connection in people's minds and being that physical presence. And that's something that happens, the more established you are, sure. The more you're able to do that and say, okay, we need to have our act together here in order to make sure that we're getting out. And with these events too, I think it's that face time that you get with people, because it's really easy, I think, to have these organizations kind of exist in the background or at one remove for the general public. But then when you get out there and they're able to put a face to an organization, I would assume that is really, really beneficial for them, making that connection between Emerge and whatever you happen to be putting on.
Yes.
Yeah. And just what sort of kind of anecdotal experiences have you had with folks once they realize who you are? Has anybody said, I had no idea this existed and it's opened kind of a whole new world for me, and I'm going to start taking some of your classes, or I'm going to visit the gallery, or something along those lines?
Yeah, I feel like we have those experiences regularly. I think when you're doing the work and you're putting so much effort, how much effort your marketing manager and your other staff are putting into getting the word out about your organization, you start maybe even assuming that the word's out. Mm-hmm. But then, I come across people all the time, and my board does as well, that still doesn't really know what Emerge is, mm-hmm. and what we're doing. And so those are all, whenever that happens, it's a good wake-up call that we have so many ways that we could reach people still. There's effort that needs to be put into that.
Yeah.
And I would say that yeah, it's one of my favorite things when someone comes in and they're from Coeur d'Alene, they wander in, they had no idea that we were there, and everything's like making them excited, like to see locally made gifts and items.
And that's at the Yours shop,
yes,
right?
Yep, in our retail space and Yours, and then the gallery, and to learn that it's all local artists, and then they get even more excited about hearing that we have a pottery studio, because they've always wanted to take pottery and always wanted to start taking art classes. I think Jaiden has had her own experiences with that as well.
People like our Yours storefront has these big windows that people see when they walk by, and we have people regularly that come in and say, I walk by this place all the time, and this is my first time actually coming in. And they see the shop and they know that it's a little shop, but then I start telling them about all the other things that we're doing, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, I need to be a part of this.
And how did you find out about Emerge?
A friend of mine who I took some college classes with, her name is Bethany, she was teaching printmaking classes at Emerge, and I just was seeing her Instagram posts about it and followed Emerge, and a couple weeks later saw a job opening and applied.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So you've got coming up on September 13th, you have the Ink Print Rally, and this is the 9th year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Is that right? And this is quite an event, because I think the kind of big selling point for this, in addition to the food trucks and whatever else that you've got going on, it's these asphalt rollers that print these, from these giant block cuts. Can you talk about the history of this event and, just some of the cool stuff that's going to be there?
Yeah, this is, I feel still is one of the most unique arts events around. And I love that. I love Emerge gets to host it. So really more like 10 years ago, I was introduced to Ronaldo Gil Sombrano, and he had just graduated, was getting settled in Spokane. If you don't know who Ronaldo is, he's
it's kind of hard not to know, but then again, you would think it's hard not for folks not to know about Emerge.
Exactly.
Yet,
So we need to say, anyway, he's an exceptional printmaker in the Spokane area, professor now at Gonzaga, just very involved in the arts community. And so when Ronaldo and I met, I started asking him if he had seen one of these events take place. He actually had organized something similar at U of I, so had a bit of experience. And I really feel like together he and I were able to come up with, the structure, the outline of what the Ink Rally would be. He was our lead artist for the event for years. So forever grateful to him for helping get it rolling. And
pun intended.
Yes. So and then we started with a very minimal amount of artists, just kind of seeing what it was going to be like. Quickly found out the really exciting thing is this event is such an educational experience for many of the artists to be involved in, because they're working alongside, there's, professional printmakers, usually we have an artist that has never even carved a block before, just jump in feet first. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes this team effort, and again, like just the learning experience, the relationship development that happens with the artists is a big part of why we continue to do it. And so we're in our 9th year now, and this year we had a maybe record number of artists apply, and we have 20.
Yeah, it'll be 18 blocks, but 20 artists because we give them the opportunity to pair up and work on a block together.
I see. Yeah, and I think it should be stressed just the scale of these blocks,
Yes.
because normally they're measured in inches, in conventional printmaking, and these measure like 3 foot by 4 foot or 4 foot by 5 foot. So it's really
Yes.
creating these really impressive and grandiose works. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you. I really wanted to touch on that. And so the artist supply, there's a theme every year. This year it's portals. The artists, then the ones that are accepted, ahead of time before the ink rally, they carve their block. And just like you said, anywhere from 4x5 to 3x5, 4, I somewhere in there. But they carve their blocks ahead, and then they bring them to the event, and they basically, the artists then rotate through stations all day, inking, getting the fabric ready. So they will then take turns. Once your block is inked, it gets put in the street, and there's fabric that goes over it. There's support boards, carpet padding for protection. And then, we have an 8,000 pound asphalt roller that some, lucky duck gets to drive for the day. And then they roll over it and forward and backwards. And then it's, the artists then again work to reveal the print, to peel up the fabric. And so people attending the event can start to see all the prints. They'll be on display on the street this year, and it's just so rewarding to watch too, really.
And all
really
with
satisfying.
this theme portals, and so
Yes.
there'll all be variations on that particular theme.
And it's wild to see the different interpretations of the themes each year.
Yes.
It's kind of fun to be looking at all the prints and then have somebody that maybe wasn't involved try to guess what the theme was, and they never can because everybody has their own so unique interpretation of it.
And then, if I'm not mistaken, you have augmented it slightly this year. You're working with Gwen Pavanka of 33 Artists.
Yeah.
And so when she was in here talking about 33 Artists, she couldn't help but mention that she was working on this as well. So you're augmenting the event with kind of a 33 Artists market vibe. And I saw that you've got a really long vendor list.
Yeah.
And so can you talk about, I know that you've been working pretty closely with Gwen on this. Can you talk about her role in this and how it's helping to augment the event?
Oh, absolutely. I think for a while we're trying to figure out how can we get more people to attend this event, and to just, when people show up, they're like, wow, this printing is really cool, but that maybe isn't quite enough to get them there in the first place. So we trialed last year with having a small vendor market, and all the vendors seemed to do really well. It really increased our attendance. And so this year we're like, we want to make that bigger and better. And we are not, we don't run a whole lot of vendor markets. It's something we probably have the capability of doing, but it's a lot in one event. And so I'm a huge fan of the 33 Artist Market. I try to go to all of their markets. And so I reached out to Gwen and was like, hey, do you want to partner on this with us? Because it brings their market out into Coeur d'Alene to maybe expose Coeur d'Alene residents to this market and to her organization to kind of bring them to their future events in Spokane. And then it also helps bring Spokane people to Coeur d'Alene for our event, sort of a mutually beneficial collaboration.
Yeah, and you've also, there's a beer garden that's part of this as well, which is always a draw.
Yeah.
But Ronaldo is taking part again this year, no?
No. So Ronaldo is very busy, new dad, for the second time. So, so he's on paternity leave right now, family leave. And so he will be, so he's kind of taken a break the last couple years for, with family. And next year, when it's our 10th anniversary, he'll be back, and hopefully we're going to try to invite almost every artist that has participated. So
I see. I had heard him advocating for this, and it's I naturally assumed that he was still part of it, but it's just because Ronaldo is just an advocate of,
Yeah.
of printmaking
Yeah.
and the arts in general, so he was probably talking this up. But I
Yeah.
saw some of the other artists that you're going to have involved. I think Molly Klingler is one of them, and then you've got Griffin Selby.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, are they Spokane artists? Are they Coeur d'Alene printmakers? Are they, how did you come to be involved with them and recruit them for this event?
Every year we do an open call that gets posted to our social media, shared by lots of other places. We try to post it to like some of the more like Spokane has their Spokane Art Calls Facebook page.
Right.
We post it to places like that, and a lot of like the professors at the colleges will share it. Griffin I know is local to Coeur d'Alene, and then I think Molly might be from slightly further out of town. I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's all just people that have seen our open call, and about half the artists this year have participated in years previous, so they kind of they know to watch out for it.
And you might have already mentioned this, but I missed it. But how many printmakers or how many artists do you have participating in this? Is it about a dozen?
20 artists
Oh, wow.
with
Okay.
18 blocks, and some of them have paired up to work on them together.
I see.
Yeah, and just, a little bit more context there. That is probably our max number of artists that we can have
There's the
participating.
temptation there. I would assume to include everybody. But yeah.
For sure. And there was a long-standing large-scale printmaking event in Missoula for a lot of years that printmaking professor James Bailey ran, and we actually looked at that for reference and ideas, and Ronaldo and knows James, but they line up blocks down the street, roll over all of them, roll once back, and it's a little bit different, but for us, when we're doing one block, maybe two at a time, it takes around 35 to 40 minutes per artist. So, or for two artists. So, when the artists are going to need to also eat lunch and take breaks and do these things, it will take us the entirety of the event to get through that many artists. So.
Yeah, and when we have fewer artists, it's easy to kind of tell them to go slow, spread it out, and at this amount of artists, we will have to be telling them, you have to kind of keep up the pace, print as fast as you can.
And this runs for how many hours?
6.
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
wow. Okay.
It'll go from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Oh, wow. Okay. And is there anything else that you wanted to add about the ink print rally that that folks might not be aware of? We've talked about the addition of 33 Artists Market, or the augmentation by 33 Artists Market, and the beer garden and food trucks and other things that are going to be part of it. Is there another component of the ink print rally that's kind of a reason to come out?
Well, the reason to come out is because you're excited about the arts and you want to support the arts and support these artists. But we have a lot going on at the event this year. There'll be some interactive activities.
Oh, wow. So some hands-on stuff as well? Okay.
We will have music all day. There'll be a DJ during most of the day, and a local band, Dazer, playing towards the end of the event. So that'll be really fun. You already mentioned we have food trucks.
And the prints, most of them will also be for sale.
Yes.
People can buy them during the event.
Yeah, we put them up for sale as soon as they're printed. And then later in October, we'll have a gallery exhibit with many of the ink prints will be involved in our gallery exhibit then. But it takes some time for those prints to dry properly, and then they usually end up framing them and then get them up in the gallery. So we're excited about that. I also really want to give a thank you and a shout out to our lead artists this year, Jen Erickson and Carl Richardson. So we're very happy that they helped Jaiden and I a lot with the logistics of how the flow of the artist day will go and what will work out the best. And so we're grateful for their involvement.
And the sale of those large scale prints, does any of that then go back to Emerge? Because, we had talked earlier and I'd mentioned that I'd missed the headline about the fire, but one recent headline that I did see towards the end of last year was that, it's an issue that's facing a lot of arts organizations is funders maybe being a little more parsimonious about, where they allocate their funds. Becoming a little stricter about technicalities and that sort of thing. And so I had seen that a funding provider that you'd had in the past wasn't able to fund you this year. So the funding landscape is changing for everybody. What are some of the challenges that you're dealing with, and are you then becoming kind of creative with some fundraising efforts? I know that you've done a farm to table fundraising event. And is the Ink Print Rally also a fundraiser as well?
Yeah, I think that every one of our events is definitely has fundraising elements to it. The dinner, the farm to table dinner that we're doing this Saturday was an auction item that we offered at our Bash fundraiser. So the Bash is exclusively fundraising, whereas our other events, the ceramic throwdown, the block party, and the ink rally are community arts events with a fundraising aspect to them.
Right.
Yeah. And so they're, Emerge, there is a percentage of the ink print sales that goes back to Emerge. It's much lower than what a commercial gallery commission would be. Because again, the point of Emerge is to try to get as many dollars back into the pockets of the artists as possible. And then we're trying to keep going at the same time. Yeah. So, yeah. Funding right now is challenging. Everyone knows it. Every nonprofit knows it. And I would say probably just businesses across the board. Where it feels like these times are, pretty uncertain. We don't know what's going to be cut next. I do the majority of our grant writing and funding requests. We have gotten many notices this year from grantors that they're not offering these grants right now, or emails that they sound like, go ahead and apply, but we don't know if we're going to actually be here by the time we're saying we're going to fund this. We hope so, cross your fingers, but you don't know. So I think you do have to really rethink funding right now as a nonprofit. Our community has been incredible. I feel like they love Emerge. They see the importance of it, and even beyond the arts, as a space that is advocating for marginalized individuals in our community, as a inclusive, safe space that people can go to. So it is really valued by many in our community, and when we have had to say we're struggling, the community has stepped up and supported us, and that's been invaluable for us.
Yeah, and that's a recurring theme in a lot of these conversations is folks are saying we're having to become, just like the pandemic necessitated certain creative agility, and people really had to exercise their creativity, and how do we keep this thing going, whatever that happens to be. This is a time when the kind of you see who your supporters are because they come out of the woodwork,
right?
And that collaborative community aspect really hits. And it heartens me to hear that Emerge has such a wide reach, because it means a lot of those very rural communities have that resource in these, fairly straitened times. So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when we're, we're talking about real tangible experiences, when you have a young queer artist that comes into our space and feels like they belong somewhere for the first time, that's why we're here. We have an artist we've been working with for the past couple years that the word is slipping my mind, but they cannot leave their house.
Oh, okay. Agoraphobic?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Agoraphobic. Extreme. This year I felt myself getting really emotional when they showed up with their work.
Yeah.
Because we saw them struggling to bring themselves to open the door and walk in. And then they messaged later and said, thank you. Thank you always for being so kind to me, for making sure I know about these opportunities. And, he's why we're here. And for everyone else that wants to, find belonging, to find their people, to find their space. It's really that. And I think that a lot of people recognize that and we need to make sure that this stays here.
Yeah. And it's those stories that are, I find, incredibly heartwarming. And all it takes is one or two, sometimes just one, to kind of justify your whole raison d'etre, because it's like, we were there for that one person, and if we weren't here, they would have been left hanging. And so it's again, it attests to the need for this, not just in Coeur d'Alene, but a support network and a creative support network pretty much everywhere. So we've talked about the Inkprint Rally. We've talked about, I would like to talk about the ceramic Throwdown just briefly.
Yeah.
You had mentioned it a few times, and so I was hoping you could shed some light on what exactly the ceramic Throwdown is.
Oh, yeah. So it's our annual ceramic event. It happens in April alongside our annual ceramic exhibit. And it is comprised of a couple key features. One being our cup frenzy, where local potters donate handmade cups to us. We usually get about 300 to 350 cups, and then people can come in and they buy them for just $15, and that includes a drink. And so everybody walks away with these beautiful handmade cups for only $15. And so that's that's the fundraising aspect of it, and all of that money goes back into equipment for our pottery studio. And then the most fun aspect of it is the Throwdown, which is a pottery competition that we have on the stage, sort of like the Great Pottery Throwdown or something that's on
British
BBC.
Show.
Yeah. But it's a little bit more fast-paced than that. We have a bracket-style throwing competition, and each task is anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes or so, and people of all skill levels are open to apply to participate in it. And at the end, they get usually a trophy made by another local potter. But things like throwing a mug in a minute, or the final challenge is always a 5-minute teapot, and it has to have a lid, it has to have a handle and a spout.
Yeah,
people get pretty competitive.
It is very high energy. There's a lot of hooting and hollering going on, and we always have a really fun DJ that's kind of keeping the vibe going too while the competitions are happening. Maya Rumsey has been a huge part of that event. So Maya lives in Coeur d'Alene. She's kind of internet sensation as a potter with the work that she does. But this has been her event that she loves helping with and being a part of. We have had, again, this event brings together professional potters alongside the novice, even students. We had
a high school student won the event not this last year, but the year before. She's only a junior in high school, and she beat out all these potters that have been making pottery professionally for years.
Oh, no
Yes.
kidding.
And yeah, so that was really fun. Pretty incredible. But we've had Chris Kelsey and Gina Fruin with Trackside have come out and helped and been a part of the event many times.
Yeah, I mean, I think
so many local well-known potters that are contributing. And then again, like Jaiden said, it coincides with our substance exhibit in our gallery. So this year we had 20-ish ceramic artists that participated in the gallery exhibit as well. So it's just it's a whole night of all things ceramic, and so much fun.
And pottery, I feel like, is a pretty prominent thing in the community. There are a lot of different pottery studios, and everybody kind of ends up in their own little group of like, oh, I'm a part of this pottery studio, I'm a part of this one, and this event brings all of them together. Like, I'm talking Trackside, Clay Connection, Urban Art Co-op, all of these people attend.
From Gizmo.
Yeah, they all attend the event. They're all competing against each other from these different studios. And the people at Clay Connection, I guess, were even this year they were practicing because they'd come enough years in a row that they kind of knew what some of the events would be.
Yeah.
They're hosting practices to try to get a leg up in winning the competition.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about all these pillars, the ceramics throwdown, the ink print rally. You also do headshots as complimentary headshots. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's our most hilarious feature.
Oh, yeah. We just...
Jaiden's baby.
Something that our marketing manager Gabe and I always complain about is artists sending us really bad headshots of like it's just a selfie in their closet or something.
Well, that's part of this professional development.
And so we're like, this is really inaccessible to people because they're not going to go out and spend $200 to get this huge series of headshots, and really they just need one. They just need one on a basic background. And so I just was like, I'm just going to put it on the website and tell people I'll take their headshot. Like, and if they're in a show, I'll just take it. And if any of the artists in the community are outside of our organization want to come in, I charge them a tiny fee, but it's really nothing to get people that access to something that they might not otherwise have.
And has that proven unexpectedly popular?
No.
Shout out to the new real estate agent.
No, house inspector.
Oh, sorry. Shout out to the new house inspector in Coeur d'Alene who had Jaiden take it.
Yeah, he emailed me. He's like, hey, is this only for artists? I'm like, I guess I'll take. It doesn't have to be only for artists. I'll take your headshot. But yeah, it's every once in a while we'll get one, and usually it's somebody that's involved in an event that says, I don't have one. Like, could you help me out? And
yeah.
So yeah, we mentioned all these pillars, and the last one that I definitely want to talk about is the gallery. You just had Daydreams with I believe it was Sam Gray and Robin Curdy.
Yeah.
That was showing in August. What's going to be showing in September?
So we talked earlier about Gwen Pavanka, Emerson Rakes, and Corey Schumann. All three of them make just this beautiful, colorful, powerful, more abstract, non-representational work. And so we paired the three of them together because they all have just kind of that same vibe. Corey's a potter, and Emerson and Gwen both make paintings.
And Emerson Rakes is going to be a senior this year.
Oh wow! Okay.
In high school. So
so the young artists, getting that shot.
Yeah.
And so it's just exciting. Emerson's been involved in the block party for a few years, and we thought would pair really nicely. And we look for those opportunities always. How can we connect artists that may be to other artists that have a bit more experience? And that's always a learning experience. Usually when we have a group show, we connect all the artists, via email. If they want to take it to the telephone after that, they do, so that they can really get to know each other ahead of their exhibit. Maybe even come up with a particular theme or color schemes, or ideas so that their work is all going to collaborate well together, mesh well together. So we know that these artists, the next three, have done a lot of that, and we're really excited to see what they've come up with.
Very cool. So I'm not sure if you're ready for this, but we have kind of an interview after the interview, and that is the lightning round.
Yeah.
And so we spring into topics that are completely different and unlike anything that we've covered before.
I'm ready.
You are ready? Okay, fantastic. Some folks, I see the panic in their eyes, and they say, "Oh my word, am I going to be tested on all my knowledge?" And so this is a little more open-ended questions.
Yeah.
The first one is an either or. It's usually an either or. This is, so someone comes up to you and says, I'm offering you this proposition, you have to take one or the other. Would you rather know the happiest day of your life or the worst day of your life? And bear in mind, that could be something that's already happened, but they're offering you the opportunity to either know what the happiest day in your life was or is going to be, or the worst day in your life. So do you want to draw straws about who's going to field that first?
It's a hard one. Because if the happiest day has already happened, then you're going to get real depressed.
Yeah, therein lies the conundrum right there.
I refuse to answer this question.
Well, no. But let's go with one. So, are you? I guess it depends on whether you're a cynic or a pessimist or an optimist. So you could kind of roll the dice and say, yeah, you know what? I'll know the happiest day of my life, and if that's already passed, you think, well, it's already all downhill from here. But
I think I would probably go with the worst day of my life.
mm-hmm.
I don't know actually what I am, optimist or, other. I feel that I do definitely think about worst case scenarios, so that when what I'm thinking of actually happens, and then I realize that wasn't the worst case scenario. And so I don't know. I think I would probably rather know that and believe that the happiest day is still out there.
But an excellent perspective. And plus, if you know the worst day, you can also kind of brace yourself for it, and you can kind of gird yourself before it.
I don't know. But
Jaiden, what about you?
No, I agree. I was kind of thinking along those same lines. It's like, I don't want to know if the happiest day has already happened. And if I know the worst day and it hasn't happened yet, I can kind of get myself ready for that. And then, yeah.
Yeah, I think fortunately none of us are going to be presented with that opportunity, but we dwell in hypotheticals. The next one, I'd like you to finish this sentence, and Jeni, since you went first last time, I'm going to direct this to you, Jaiden. I've never understood the appeal of blank.
Oh. I think the blank really stuck with me, and my brain's just...
And your mind went blank at the same time.
Yeah. I've never understood the appeal of mushrooms, like the kind that you eat for food.
Oh, you're not a mushroom fan?
No.
Okay. So does that mean that you will not eat anything with mushrooms in it?
If I don't know that they're there, I think it's maybe okay.
And is it a texture thing? Is it a taste thing? Yeah, they can be
just dirt. Like spongy dirt. I don't know. Jenny's over here I love mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't think we have a...
I have mixed reviews on mushrooms myself, so...
Yeah, I don't think we have a listenership that's made up of a large contingent of mushroom farmers.
Oh.
So I don't think anybody's going to take offense at that. But Jeni, I've never understood the appeal of...
Waking up at 5 a.m.
I'm with you there. No, actually, I can kind of get behind it. I can understand why someone might do it, but I find it hard to do myself.
And every time I do, I'm like, oh, I'm so productive. Look at me. This is so great. Yeah, I don't know.
But then you flag later in the day, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, my working operational hours are 7:30 to 11:30, so 5 always seems pretty early. But I guess I understand it. I'm just never gonna do it.
Yeah, that is a question that has come up during the lightning round before. Are you an early bird or a night owl? So I take it that you're more of a night owl, although 7:30 ain't late.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also think it's really interesting to think on how we commend going to bed early, but sleeping in late is looked bad upon, when really you're just, both times you're just getting rest.
Yeah. You're just kind of shifting those sleep hours.
Yeah.
So we've talked about your dislike of mushrooms. Is there a food that you enjoy that people might find a little strange? Are you a fan of pickled herring, for example?
Oh, it's my turn first?
Yeah, it's your turn.
I don't know.
No foods that seem out of the ordinary. You're a very conventional food person. It's usually the pickled stuff, or something that's maybe a little exotic or far flung.
I mean, I like a lot of different types of food. So, I feel like that's almost a question for someone that's around you all the time. Like, oh, they eat this and that's weird,
Are you a spice fiend? Do you like really spicy stuff?
I don't like, no, I'm like 2 stars in with the spice. Okay. Yeah.
I feel like, and now this is, Jeni and I are both vegetarians, so maybe it's a little bit more within our realm, but I know we both really like tofu, and people that are not kind of a part of that world are kind of get a little bit like, ooh, weird. Maybe have some misconceptions. And my biggest one that I think is weird, but I enjoy it, is tofu in mac and cheese.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and is that then kind of almost like the Spam substitute in mac and cheese or something like that? So but then again, you get into that texture issue. And if you're ruling mushrooms out on account of texture, tofu, that can be an acquired taste sometimes too, or an acquired texture.
Right. Yeah. And specifically Kraft mac and cheese.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. Jaiden does love that. I do love almost anything pickled. Mm-hmm. Going back to the pickled. And when I was a teen, I ate peanut butter and pickle sandwiches frequently.
Well, there we go. I think that's a great answer for this question, because if somebody broke out peanut butter and pickles, I would, kind of do a sideways glance. Now, I would thank them. Where did you get that combo? What encouraged you to pair those two?
It was probably my dad, who eats strange sandwiches frequently. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I one of the more unique sandwich pairings that I know, although I think it makes perfect sense, is olives and cream cheese. And I had a friend who ate a lot of olive and cream cheese sandwiches growing up, and
that does sound good.
Yeah. All right, finally, and I think this is an easy one, an artist or an arts event that's in maybe the broader Coeur d'Alene area that you think deserves way more recognition than they're getting.
The Emerge ink print route. No, just kidding.
Oh gosh. My gut is Christina Villagomez. She's a tattoo artist, and I feel like her illustrations and her installation work that she's done for us for the Block Party for a couple years in a row is just mind-blowing. And I think that she's still in that realm of maybe not a name that everybody would recognize, and I think that they should.
It's Christina Villagomez? Mm-hmm. Okay. Jeni, what about you?
I think I've been asked this question before, and one of my board members always comes to mind, Chris Grubb. I think he's slowly is getting more of a following, but he became a sculptor about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm.
Was that a pandemic skill?
I don't know. I didn't ask him. I didn't ask him directly why, but he jumped straight into bronze sculptures.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Okay. And, if you know Chris, he will master anything that he tries. He's an engineer. He's, very smart and calculated in what he does. So it made sense that he would be attracted to, this type of sculpting. But his sculptures are incredible.
Oh, and
incredible.
a real emphasis on he masters everything that he tries. He took a pottery class at Emerge because his wife Sheila does pottery, and he's like, I've always wanted to get into this. And throwing on the wheel is a difficult skill for anyone. It is so rare for people to just pick it up. And very first class, he's making these like delicate, thin bowls that are just perfect. Like he's out there with measuring them, making them all the same size, and everybody was just in awe that he was able to pick it up so quickly.
You know, I envy the facility that some folks have, because it takes me a lot longer to pick up any skill.
Yeah, it definitely took me a lot longer to learn to throw also. So.
Well, cool. Jeni, Jaiden, I want to thank you so much for coming in today and
Thank
talking
you.
about
Yeah,
Emerge
thank you.
and everything that's going on there. So yeah, much appreciated.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Thank you so much for having us. This was really fun.
Yeah.